groovy. Today on Outside the Box Reviews, we are taking a look at the NECA Ash vs. Evil Dead Eligos, the Demon of the Mind. This is the one demon or deadite or whatever bad guy we get in this wave of Ash vs. Evil Dead figures. And after watching the series, I guess it's just one of those few demons that they really could make a toy out of. It's one of the few that's not just very generic. And it definitely is a sharp contrast to the two Ash figures in this line. So let's take a closer look. This figure comes with no accessories, so we could jump right into the sculpt, which I like a lot. We kind of have this blue flesh on this creature, but it looks like it's peeled away to see the jaws. With these bright yellow teeth, a lot of gross kind of viscera going on around his mouth. These two little tusks there at the bottom. And we even get a pretty nicely detailed tongue on the inside there. We have all these wounds and gashes across his head. Looking in, you just see all this meat work inside. There's also kind of a greenish slime color going on there too, but a lot of great sculpting and paintwork around the side of this thing's head, and it just makes it look really just disgusting. Some of those wounds you can see kind of trickle down the back of the figure, and we get some extra wounds here too that have their own kind of bleed going on here. Similar on the front, we do have a wound up here on the shoulder and a few more across the chest, and it's just really gross looking. We do get some more of that kind of phlegm color mixed in here as well. The body on this figure is decently sculpted. It's basically just a naked torso. And then we get the arms that come down and kind of have the forearm skin ripped away to be this bloody grossness. And then the hands that are pretty much all red with these dark black nails on them. The hands are kind of both in outstretched grabbing poses. Going down the rest of the demon, the legs are pretty bland until we get down here to the bottom where we have more kind of torn up sections and grossness going on. Actually, we do get one here on the hip too. And then these back bent legs with these sharp talons coming out the back that look like broken bones sticking out back there. And then the feet are basically the exact same as the hands, even the way they're sculpted, they look like hands. It's a little harder to pose this figure to make him stand. There's no peg holes on him, so you may need kind of a dynamic stand or something to assist him in standing on your shelf. But I do realize why it'd be kind of hard to put peg holes in feet that are this tiny. The articulation on this figure is a little limited. We get a ball joint at the head. Doesn't look any further up than this though. You can get him to look pretty far down, as well as rotate side to side and tilt. We do get a hinge in the jaw, so we'll open a fair amount and then close all the way. We have pin and socket joints at the arms, so they'll go forward, back, as well as out to the side. A single jointed elbow, it only bends in about 45 degrees and then bends out and will rotate. And then we have ball joints here at the hands. The hands are kind of permanently posed at a slightly downward angle, so you can't get them to go too far up. Nothing in the torso because it's all sculpted here. And the legs kind of confuse me. It's something I think people should be aware of before they start messing with this figure too aggressively. If you look at the joints, I don't know if I can get them to kind of show you here, but it's not a normal pin and socket joint that we're used to getting with NECA. It's actually a ball in there with a single directional hinge, so you have to line up the hinge with the direction of movement. You can kind of see that hinge there on this leg, and that's the direction that it can move in and out. If you want to change that, you're going to have to kind of do a mixture of moving the leg and swiveling and bending to get it to meet the axis you want, and then move it that way. It's a bit complex and it's a bit of a pain in the butt, but if you get the hang of it, you can get the poses you want out of it. It's just kind of feels archaic to me in a weird way. And something I think that if you get this figure and you start trying to move the legs, you may end up breaking them if you don't realize how the joint is actually constructed. At the knee, we have a single joint, can bend a little less than 90 degrees as well as rotate. Then we get a ball joint here at the back bent little knee or ankle section, and then a ball joint there at the foot hand. And here's Eligos next to one of our Ash figures. You can see they stand roughly the same height, even with the weird legs on them that I thought would add a little height to him. But he also kind of has a hunched over pose to a slight degree, so it kind of detracts that added height from him pretty quickly. I think the sculpt and paintwork on this figure are top notch. The articulation is a little lacking, especially compared to the super well articulated Ash figures. So I'm left kind of in a middle point where I'm not sure whether to recommend or not recommend it, but it has more good going for it than it doesn't. You just have to be careful posing him because I feel like you could really mess up the legs pretty quick and he's gonna topple over if you're not careful. But yeah, I will give this figure a weak recommend. It definitely isn't bad. It just feels a little bit lacking. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, username Outside the Box Reviews. Also check me out on Facebook, link below. And until next time, this has been our Outside the Box Reviews. Hail to the king, baby.